This video is a review of the presentation on Judaism. Right? Our goal is to be able to understand the basic beliefs and practices of the oldest monotheistic faith. So our first question, what are the basic beliefs and practices of Judaism? Now, as you went through this presentation in class, you had the opportunity to watch this clip. So so the first thing to understand is that in the history of Judaism, we have to go back some 5,000 years and understand that a group of people known as the Hebrews were one of the nomadic groups who lived in the Fertile Crescent. So the story of Abraham and that he started his journey in the city of Ur and went down across the Fertile Crescent or up across the Fertile Crescent and down into the land of Canaan. So the belief is that God chose Abraham to be the father of the Hebrew people, and that it was God who told Abraham to take his people to Canaan, and that if he did that, that this would be their homeland, and he would have to preach the message that there was, in fact, only one God. The idea of monotheism is the belief that there are not multiple gods, but rather a singular God. Due to a series of years of drought in the land of Canaan down here, the Hebrew people or the Jewish people, traveled out of the land of Canaan into Egypt, where it is said that they became slaves. The history continues that Moses convinces the Pharaoh in Egypt to let the Jewish people go, and that they crossed the Red Sea and returned back to the land of Canaan. Another part of the early history of the Jewish people was during the diaspora when the Assyrian Empire came into their homeland, and the king Nebuchadnezzar removed the Jews from their holy city of Jerusalem and forced them into different parts of the Assyrian Empire. This actually is what solidifies certain aspects of Jewish culture, especially when it comes to the Torah or the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible, as well as some aspects of or the importance of the synagogue. Even today, all Jews living outside of the Holy Land are considered to be living in diaspora. Okay, so their beliefs about a monotheistic God. Judaism was the first religion to be what we call monotheistic, the belief that there is only one God. In the Jewish faith, God is also called Yahweh. So, one of the main principles of Judaism is that there have been two covenants made, or two major agreements made. That first covenant was basically that Abraham and his followers were promised a homeland. In exchange, the Hebrew people, the people of Abraham, would only worship Yahweh, a singular God, that they would not worship any other gods beside him. And the second covenant, or the second agreement, was between Moses and God, and that he promised to deliver the Ten Commandments to the Hebrew people, that these are the laws by which they should abide, and in return, God would promise salvation for the Jewish people or the Hebrew people. So there are two things I want to point out right now. One is that oftentimes we're going to hear the word Hebrew or Jewish or Israelite, and those three terms are all referencing the same group of people. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that the idea that there was only one God was very, very, very different at this time. Everyone else in this region of the world, and many regions of the world, prayed to multiple gods. They were polytheistic. And here was this small group of people that were basically saying, no, that's wrong. There's actually only one God. It made the Jewish people kind of outsiders in this time period, that they were definitely different thinkers with their idea of monotheism. The Jewish people also believe that there has not yet been a Messiah. A Messiah means savior, someone who comes to take all righteous souls and resurrect them. As far as worship is concerned, worship or Jewish people pray in a synagogue or temple. Services are held on Saturday, and Saturday is called the Sabbath or Holy Day. And services in a synagogue or temple are led by someone known as a rabbi, which means teacher, not preacher. During these services, there are passages read from the Torah, which is the holy book of Judaism. It contains the history of the Hebrew people, as well as the basis of Jewish beliefs. One of the aspects of the Torah, one of the things in the Torah are the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments were part of that second covenant that Yahweh gave to Moses at the top of Mount Sinai. These are 10 laws that are how Jews should live their life. The first 4 of them address humans' relationship to Yahweh or God. The last 6 of the 10 commandments address humans' relationships with each other, how they should treat each other. As far as rules and effects on society, one such rule or effect on society would be kosher laws. Kosher laws are laws that are dictated by the Torah, and they can control how and what Jews eat. So if someone who is Jewish is practicing kosher law, that would mean that they would not mix meat and dairy products. They would not be together on the same plate. So, for example, no cheeseburgers. Jews also are not supposed to eat pork or shellfish, right? So, as we have talked about in class, you would have gone through and taken some of these words that are listed on the left-hand side of the screen and used them in a paragraph. So, using the ideas of Abraham being the founder of the faith or the Torah, which is this scroll that we see right here in the image. The Torah is the holy book of Judaism. And here, the image that we see of the Torah, it is in a synagogue or temple. Normally, a rabbi would be standing in front of this scroll and reading from it during services. In the Torah, it would tell stories of Yahweh's relationship with the Jewish people. In one such story, the Second Covenant, it talks about Yahweh's agreement with Moses to receive the 10 Commandments. So, see how I utilized all of the words on the left-hand side to tell you a little bit about Judaism as a faith. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Revisit your notes, revisit this presentation, and